when I was speaking like this, believe me, Rajan, people were running away from me.
Yeah.
They were scared. They were scared. They were running away with my voice because they've never seen, they've never heard such typical voice at all.
Welcome back to the Global Indian Podcast, the official platform for people of Indian origin, because let's face it, we are everywhere. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for clicking the link to find out more about this remarkable journey. Now, every week we take you around the global Indian world to plunge into the human experience of what's it like to be a person of Indian origin, take a second look at the countries we now call home, and take on the big conversations we have to have. In this episode, we travel all the way down to India to find out more about this incredible journey of Shrenik. Now, 24 years ago, he lost something that is remarkably precious to all of us. It's our voice. And that voice was substituted with something else. Now, what's really interesting is the moment that he was diagnosed with cancer was the moment he found his true purpose, and importantly, the moment he gained a new voice that provided the depth of understanding and expression to other people out there. This is an incredible podcast because it plunges you into this notion of purpose finding. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the Global Indian series and the entire repertoire of conversations so far, it couldn't be easier. Simply go to our website, www.globalindianseries.com, and you can find out more about the incredible conversations we are bringing together around the world. I'd like to thank our dear supporters and sponsors for helping us make this platform alive. I'd like to thank ShareMe.com, the app for all your beauty, fitness and wellness needs, and Nazran Roth, helping global Indians remain and go global via a range of citizenship, via investment opportunities, as well as residency. I truly hope you enjoyed this podcast. It is a remarkable one that not only gives you a new perspective on the preciousness of life, but also plunging you into the power of your own voice. I hope you enjoy this session.
And just move. Get up and just move. Get up and just move. Get up and just move.
I think we need to address the elephant in the room because you have a rather unique voice. So before we have a look at these incredible accomplishments that you've done, and more importantly, how you've been living this remarkable life, run us through that moment that your life ultimately started to change and why the audience hear the voice that they hear now.
Rajan, first of all, good to see you as usual. That is one simple difference between you and me. You have salt and pepper beard, and I have simply salt beard. So that is so that is the basic difference. On the other end, I believe that we are on the same page. We are having a common wavelength, and we together are willing and going to rock the world, and that's what I am here for.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I would say there's one difference. You've got a great head of hair. You look like a film actor, and I just look like an extra.
Do one thing. Try to get me some role in a movie, and whatever I will earn out of the movie, I will share with you. I promise that.
Done. We've got a verbal contract now, so there's no going back. Done, sorted. So Shrenik, run us through, because obviously you do have a unique voice, and I think it's important that the audience know why that's the case. Because your voice isn't just you, you're so much more than that. And it's about your actions that you have achieved throughout your life that's impacted people. That is what I want to speak about. But we need to address the elephant in the room. Run the audience why they hear the way that you are right now.
Well, let me review my life before I had undergone this larynx or vocal cord cancer, which was detected in a very, very advanced stage. So earlier, my surgery in September 1997, I would say 100%, I was a businessman. I was traveling globally, some more than 150 overseas trips, some of European buyers. They were always calling me, not with my name Shrenik, but they were calling me as a cowboy. And during those times, you will be surprised. I was boarding flights at least times in 30 hours all the way from, Ahmedabad, Delhi to Europe and several destinations. Not a smoker. I am strict vegetarian. Somewhere in early 1996, I started losing my voice. But I was absolutely talking like any normal human being all the time till I was 43, and slowly my voice changed from the normal one to the hoarseness, and subsequently to the whispering. That means there was specific voice coming out which was possible earlier. Started losing my voice, losing my weight. I was virtually breathless, unable to lay flat on my bed. 24 hours I was laying in a slanting condition because I was having a terrible problem with my breathing. Then one morning I started bleeding in my cuff. I went to my physician. He said, nothing doing. You must go to the cancer surgeon right away. I have two sons at that time. My eldest son, he was studying in Australia. He was 21. I, by myself, along with my wife, we went to see the cancer surgeon, examined me. He said, I need to perform this copy. That means, he has to insert the instrument in my throat and it needs to examine. And so, very next day, I went and, well, he did laryngoscopy, which is to examine the internal area, including larynx. One thing I must admit, I must admire, at times people who are getting diagnosed with any type of cancer, usually if they afford, they would prefer to go out of India for the treatments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be UK, it could be US, it could be Australia, or wherever they feel comfortable with. But I must once again mention, and this is a very precise statement, that Indian oncologists, the cancer surgeons, they are at their best in this scale. Even at that time, that was in 1997,
Oh wow. Yeah.
and the age of the surgeon was, I believe, 35, 30. One of the best thing what he did, you will never believe me, and trust me, I was, I am, and I will be indebted to him for all my life, for one simple reason, that during the laryngoscopy itself, he performed tracheostomy. The reason the tracheostomy means a hole in the center of my throat.
Yeah.
So, from that point onward, my breathing line from nose is closed
Yeah.
permanently for the lifetime. And now I'm breathing all my life, and I'm going to breathe all my life from about 1 inch diameter hole in the center of my throat.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, the way in which he meticulously performed the tracheostomy, that was a starting point of my survival as a Shrenik Shah. If it would have been delayed even by 24 hours,
Yeah.
I would have never survived. So
Wow.
that was is a master stroke. I must say it was his master stroke that during the laryngoscopy itself he performed tracheostomy that biopsy was done. It was samples were sent for the pathological analysis. 4 5 days later, the report came.
When was the moment that you realized that you had lost your voice? Because did you know before the surgery that my voice is gone, I'm never going to recover it, or was there a chance that you'd wake up from the surgery and everything would be repaired?
Now, from the very first day, even before performing the surgery, I was told, or rather, we were told by the cancer surgeon that I will have to remove your larynx and you won't be able to speak now
Uh,
onward naturally.
yeah,
And believe me, Rajan, my reaction along with my wife was very simple, very precise, and in 2 sentences. Number one, we said that we know that we are in a safe hands. Number one,
yeah,
and you are the doctor. You do whatever you have to do it. No question being asked. And believe me, we never asked any next question. We just said that okay, we'll come tomorrow and you proceed with whatever treatment is required. That's it. Because you know the condition was so horrible,
yeah.
so bad that you can hardly imagine. I will give you another simple example to understand this problem. Falling into the swimming pool,
Yeah,
and if you don't know
had to
how
swim.
how to swim, what will be your condition? I had the same problem, same condition at that point of time. So for me,
Anything
whatever
was
the
better. Yeah,
yeah, so anything was better, and that were just we say very clearly that you do whatever you have to do it, and that's it. And then as I said, so first surgery was done on 28th of August 1997. After the biopsy report came, he performed another massive surgery on 5th of September 1997, and a week later, I was discharged with the tube, etc. And then 2 weeks later, I was advised to undergo radiotherapy for whatever residual cells which could not be removed
yeah.
during the surgery.
So
So
it was traumatic for you because you had to go through a lot of surgery and you obviously lost your voice. But then in your mindset, you're thinking, well, you're still alive. You still have ability, but you would have known that your whole life would have changed from then. So what was that moment in your mind that you thought, rather than being disabled, I'm going to enable myself towards doing something more?
once the larynx or a vocal cord were removed, the simple because for me important was survival.
Yeah,
And for a quite long time I was getting used to troubleshooting or reaching my goal instead
yeah,
of analyzing why, what, and
yeah,
I believe me, this is my 24th year,
yeah,
and I never had 1% thought that why me. The reason is I am grateful to the God because I could survive,
yeah.
and believe me, which I am living now is truly beautiful. Let me show you a small poster and we'll go further.
Oh, well, so what I can see here is a poster of you. There is a beautiful life even after cancer. and I can see you there with a wonderful background. It looks like you're doing a public speaking event there. And so you are thankful, and what your message is saying, don't worry about the why, because the why is no longer in your ability. What you should be focusing on is, what do I do now? How do I keep moving forward? And importantly, ensure that my mindset is also matched up with that in terms of every moment that I'm thinking and conditioning myself to say, I can do something. When you first suggested to using your recorder for your voice, what was your mindset there? Was it to say, do you know what? This is my new voice, and this is a voice I'm going to inspire people with. Like, how did you operate with it?
Specific voice. Again, I am grateful to my cancer surgeon because, you know, when I had undergone surgery or before I had undergone surgery, I really had no idea. And even as I said earlier, for me, the major interest was on survival than anything else because, you know, I will survive with my wife and two sons.
Yeah,
So, and I was the only earning member in the family. So survival was the only purpose I had in the back of my mind.
yeah,
And so for surgery, my surgeon said that okay, now there is a device available which you can place under your chin, under your throat, and well, that this instrument was not available in India. We got it from US, and then I practiced speaking by standing in front of the mirror, and one very beautiful thing I would like to share with you that this voice is coming simply by locating a sweet spot. I repeat the word sweet spot under my chin where I can generate a better sound quality.
yeah.
And so since December 1997, I am speaking with this specific device which is called electrolytics.
Wow. So I suppose the interesting thing is we take for granted our voice in life. We never realize how important it is until then. So now you're forced in a positive way to realize the power of your voice and the impact it can have on others. How have you used that to shape a new life for yourself?
Yes, so I will explain quite few or rather a few funny incidents when I started speaking using this electrolytics from December 1997. I think for first couple of years I was not going out because I was advised to stay away from passive smoking or not getting the infection or recurrence of the cancer. But at times when I was going out and when I was speaking like this, believe me, Rajan, people were running away from me.
Yeah,
They were scared. They were scared. They were running away with my voice because they've never seen, they've never heard such typical voice at all.
yeah,
And at times I was definitely bit in a withdrawing condition because people, except my family, people were running away. But then I realized that if I have to survive and if I have to lead life as a businessman, as a family, and I was, I'm having two sons. They were too young,
mm,
and I myself being the only earning member, uh, I cannot afford to give up. And so from that time onward, I decided, come what may, I don't care what people are thinking. about my voice, and I am committed. I am bound to express myself in whatever manner I can,
Mm.
whether they like it or whether they don't like it. It doesn't matter because you know I was because see imagine one thing, Rajan, that if you are asked that okay you're not in a stable condition when you are not sleeping, and if you are asked that okay you are not going to speak for next couple of hours, what will be the frustration in the back of your head? You will go wild, you will go crazy, because the thinking process is never going to stop, and unless you cannot talk, unless you cannot communicate, is a disaster,
Mm.
absolutely disaster. And don't forget that in the current time, or rather in last 10, 15 years, this Android phone and stuff like that was made available. People can text and communicate and stuff like that. But during that time, that is in 1997 to 2000, 2002, the mobile was not the gadget easily available,
Yeah.
so that you cannot communicate, and once you cannot communicate, as I said earlier, you will go wild, you will go crazy, you will go frustrated. There is a lot of amount of anger because you cannot, you want to speak but you cannot.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I realized my limitation, and I have decided that I don't want to go wild, I don't want to go crazy. And again, I had to support my family, I do support my two sons, because one was in college, another was in school, last year of the school, and and again I'm into international business marketing. So if I cannot speak, if I cannot communicate,
Mm.
how am I going to run my business?
Mm.
So all these situation, all these circumstances made me committed that I am going to speak no matter what is going to happen or what others are thinking about my
In,
voice.
in a weird way, it sounds like by losing your voice, you also gained your voice because what emerged through was so much more stronger and it was impassioned and in purpose with who you are. Because now you appreciate that the authenticity within you doesn't have to come through just the texture of your voice, but it's about the words. And I like what you said about the sweet spot because that sweet spot is not just in terms of the location, physiological location, but it's also the sweet spot of knowing who you are, being centered in who you are, and then speaking from that truth. Now, if we fast forward from that moment in time to where you've got no idea, where you are being withdrawn to where you are now, where you're inspiring a lot of people around the world to say, let's go deeper. What have been the biggest learnings that you've been through? If you were to look at this remarkable experience that is called life, of being in the human form. What's been your biggest experience from that, and what have you learned through your experiences so far that you want to impart on others?
Well, again, I would like to repeat one important phrase that I am precisely, I'm precisely a troubleshooter,
Hmm.
and with the grace of God, usually when people stop thinking at a point, I start thinking from that point onward, and I usually get back with a precise solution.
Hmm.
And that is, I believe that that is a key advantage for whatever quality life I'm living for last 20 years. And on top of that, I would like to mention one more important aspect that when I started using this machine or this device, at that point of time, the service of SNP, that is speech language therapists, they teach you how to speak. I mean, after undergoing this surgery, and as of now, there are 72,000 SLPs just in US. They are 70. They are teaching individuals like me how to speak, how to swallow, and stuff like that. And some of those people in US, some of those in UK, and some in India, they are very good friend of mine. And one more point I would like to emphasize that I had a privilege of teaching American SLP student in the university for 6 weeks. So sitting in India, I get given a lesson of being speech language therapist. So this was a fabulous opportunity, and I believe God is precisely, undoubtedly too kind to me.
But I
And
also think it's partly, and of course, we all have a belief in a being in whichever form it may be, but it's also your mindset, which is remarkable because a lot of people would have been withdrawn and they think, well, how do I survive? And more importantly, they'll be stuck in that questioning phase. But in a really strange way, you're right. Something that you said just hit hard, and something that I'm going to try now actually is how long can you go by being silent? Because by being silent, then you have to trust in what you hear. And what you hear then starts to define what you start to see. And what you went through was almost a process in which you started to eliminate the the way in which you're putting visions across life. So you start to see the world as it is rather than as you thought it was. So that silent moment is important. And then I think what you accurately and precisely did was that you thought to yourself, well, what is my next step? How can I give back? What is my purpose? What is my intent? And so therefore, rather than thinking, how do I commercialize or how do I seek to make money? Your first thought process was, how do I help other people like me? And that's what led you into the role. The whole thing that guided you was your mindset in probably one of the most difficult situations that people are in. I think I think that's a lesson in itself, isn't it?
yes, but I would say for last more than 10 years, uh, I was called up in a private cancer hospital for counseling the patients, not only vocal cord, but any type of cancer patients. I mean, who were required to undergo the surgery. See, that is a one very precise mindset for anybody who is getting diagnosed with the cancer. That is, for example, I have diagnosed with the cancer. That means I'm not going to live long. That is the first impression for the patient, and same is the impression for caregivers. He or she will feel that I mean he or she is not going to survive more than 2 years, 5 years, and stuff like that. So when I was, or rather when I was asked to counsel, my first two sentences were or my first two sentences are, as of now, I would say, Rajan, this is my 24th year as a cancer survivor. So that is my starting point
Yeah,
to convince the patient he or she will realize that if this man has survived 24 years, I am going to make it out anyway. So,
absolutely.
so that is the starting point, and then I try to manage everything, whatever I can. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, even sometimes 1 hour. And the best part is once counseling is done, patients, caregivers are convinced they would immediately approach to the doctor that yes, we are now, or rather, I am now ready for the necessary treatment, and that's it.
Yeah, because you're saying
So,
what's important is a mindset, isn't it? People need to
exactly.
know that you can survive. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's up to you to determine that. How much of in your experience, obviously dealt with thousands of people around the world. In your experience, how important is that mindset in regards to also cancer recovery?
Well, see, I would say that is absolutely no thumb rule
Mm,
for the survival. The reason is every patient is having a different kind of cancer, different kind of stage, and most importantly, how the treatment is going to respond to a particular patient is important. And let's not forget that doctors they are putting on all possible efforts at par. It's there is no question, there is no doubt that they are not doing properly now. They are doing their best. But then it is your luck
yeah,
that how best. Don't think about tomorrow because tomorrow is not in your hands.
yeah,
The switch off and switch on is in his hands. So why to bother?
yeah,
Why to bother in his business when you have no control at all over this? You are wasting time. And I mean, and suppose if I mind your business, are you going to go along with me? No, you are going to try me out, isn't it? So it's better to mind my own business instead
mm,
of interfering in God's business. Let him do his job. We have to do our job. We have more than 100 things to do. And let's not forget when you are sent on this planet, when you are taking a birth on this planet, you've been beautifully gifted with a great smile.
mm,
Smile. Don't waste that smile.
mm,
Don't let go that smile. Keep smiling because you cannot change your lifespan. It could be 1 year, it could be 10, it could be 20, it could be 50, it could be 100,
absolutely. It's
it could be 100.
saying enjoy the experience of being here.
Exactly,
We've all got this fragile human form, but unless we truly experience it, it's a waste of life, isn't it?
exactly. And so from that time onwards, that is September 1987, I have decided to live in the moment no matter what.
Mm,
And another thing, before you love someone else, start loving yourself first because unless you don't love yourself, you will never know the benefit of loving yourself.
yeah.
You need to have your own experience. Once you have your own experience of loving yourself,
I,
you will
I
know the
think
value.
I think it's easy for us to say that because we've been through different but remarkable experiences. For most people out there, when they live in a box of life whereby everything's constantly revolving almost on repeat, it's kind of difficult to break out of that and realize actually I myself have value, because all they've done is lived on autopilot. With you, because of what you went through, it gave you very different voice to say, I really deeply appreciate life. And what I thought was my voice, that was my voice here, I realized was just another tool of personal expression. And then when you exchange that mode for the machine, you thought, well, I've got a new voice now that has more purpose and that has clarity and precision, as you like to say, in terms of helping out other people that are in this fragile state that I also belong to. Not those of cancer survivors, but the everyday human being who has something far more of a dis-ease within them, which is a mindset. And so your message, and I guess it's something that I truly believe in as well, it's you have to know who you are. You have to live your own experiences. You have to be able to take that deep dive plunge into saying, what makes me tick? And what am I willing to do to feel a sense of belonging and also a sense of individualism by, i.e., understanding that I'm much more than just cultural conditioning, religious conditioning, but more importantly, a human being on this planet for this amount of time, whether small or large, but I owe it to myself to explore.
And just move. Get up and just move. Get up and just move. Get up and just move.
What a phenomenal conversation, I'm sure you agree. It plunges us into just the very aspect of what it means to be human. I think one thing that we can take away from this conversation is that Shrenik, regardless of what's thrown in front of him, he will find a way. And I suppose that human motivation is something that we should all take with us. Now, again, if you like the work we do, check out the website. And if you want to support us, well, it couldn't be easier. And it's free. All you have to do is simply like, share, and subscribe. Because with your help, we're building the world's living encyclopedia of people of Indian origin. And importantly, we're mooring our community together in such a powerful way because our content inspires purpose, passion, and community spirit. Until next week, I hope all remains well. Speak to you soon.